YouTube, how are we? I'm good, thank you very much for asking. As you can tell by the thumbnail, we have a question and answer session. So grab yourself a cup of tea. I've got a cup of tea. If you don't like tea, grab a drink, whatever. Come and sit down with me. And I'm not going to digress any further. I've got a bunch of questions that came from my Instagram. I've got them up on my phone. And what I'll do is I'll put them on the screen as I answer the questions. But yeah, just kick back and chill, man. That's what I'm going to do. So let's dive straight into it. So I've got a mixed bag of questions, really. Most of them are fitness related for obvious reasons, because most of my followers are interested in fitness. But I guess a couple in there are personal. So sit down. If you like listening to me talk, let's dive straight into it. So the first one is, what is your opinion on supplements as a whole? So supplementation is an interesting topic, I think, when it comes to fitness. I think people who shouldn't be taking supplements, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible, are taking supplements when they necessarily haven't earned the right to take supplements. And let me explain. Supplements are supplementation, okay? And I think often supplements are looked at as replacements or saviors or gap fillers for people who don't already have a good structure. So when I say people who are using supplements shouldn't be using them, I mean people who can't stick to a workout plan that's 3 days or more. People who can't get a minimum of 6 hours sleep. People who don't drink more than 3 liters of water a day. You know, you have to do the basics, and that's where I'm going with my point here. You have to be able to do the basics well and then add in your supplementation. You know, creatine, for example, is probably the most commonly asked question that I get. Should I take creatine? And my answer is always the same. Just focus on consistency. Show that you can turn up to the gym consistently week on week. You can meal prep, you can hit your macros, you can hit your water intake, you can focus on your steps, and then add in these extra variables that are going to give you the percentage differences. It's not that I think supplements are wrong. I think supplements have a place in everyone's world because they make our lives easier. You know, protein powder is probably the most used supplement, right? It's allowing us to hit our protein target where maybe we couldn't hit it without it. But what I'm trying to say is you shouldn't be relying on these supplements to fill the large bulk of your life. So if you've got 100 grams of protein to hit for the day, I don't want you hitting 50 grams of that through protein powder. To me, if that's what you're doing, there's a problem there. So when I say people shouldn't be taking them, what I'm trying to say is that focus on the basics, get your workout plan sorted, get your nutrition plan sorted, do your steps, drink your water, and then add in these things that cost more money. Because most of the time, a lot of you will be focusing on the smaller percentages when you maybe haven't earned the right to just yet. Question number 2. Do you think the fitness industry is oversaturated? One interesting question. So I have seen these questions prior to this video, so I won't act like these are the first time I'm reading it. And I have thought about this question, and I have to be honest, it's a tough question to answer, because the fitness industry, and when I say fitness industry, for those who maybe don't know, I'm going to bracket everything that's to do with fitness. PTs, social media, content, all of the social media platforms, research studies, everything. Do I think it's saturated? It probably is. And I think social media is probably the reason behind that. I think if you just go through your Instagram feed, and most of you watching this will probably have an Instagram feed similar to mine, the amount of content out there around fitness is largely overwhelming. If I'm honest with you, it's largely overwhelming. And the reason I say that is because you've got so many different people giving so many different opinions. How, as a beginner, are you supposed to know who to trust? How, as a beginner, are you supposed to know who to follow? And I think for me, speaking from a personal point of view, what I try to do with my social media is show you guys everything. My personal brand is me. If you come and work with me, you're working with me. You're not working with a fake. Everything you see me post online is real. Everything you see me post online, I practice what I preach. So when I'm talking about nutrition advice, excuse me, when I'm talking about nutrition advice, it's nutrition advice that I'm probably following as well. And when I say, is it saturated? Yes. It's because the field has never been larger. You know, us as fitness coaches and online coaches and personal trainers, you guys as consumers have so much to choose from. Same with content. You've got so many content creators to choose from. That therefore means it is saturated. Now, having said that, it can be saturated, but also lack quality at the same time. Because if something is very accessible, like social media is, you watching this tomorrow could start posting social media content and it could come up on someone's For You page that has never heard of you, and they will have no idea that you only started yesterday. In fact, the only way they would know is because you've only got one post. So social proof and time under the belt, for me, is the most important thing. The other day, I hit 800 posts on Instagram. That's 800 posts of consistency. That's 800 posts of me showing you I kind of know what I'm talking about. And that's not me being big-headed. I'm not trying to blow smoke up my ass. That's just me evidencing that if you invest in me, you can be confident. So yeah, I do think it's oversaturated. Does that mean if you're watching this, you shouldn't go into that field? I don't think so. I think there's still a place for more people in the fitness game, because I think there's a lot of poor people in the fitness game. I think there's a lot of people who put out poor content, misadvice, maybe people giving advice that they probably shouldn't be. And there's also a lot of poor trainers in gyms. I'm sure a couple of the gyms that you know, if you're watching this and you go to the gym, I'm sure that you've probably seen some questionable fitness advice being given in the gym. So I think fitness is ever evolving. So it might be oversaturated, but I think it has the ability to become even more saturated, if that makes sense. Okay, next question. Sorry if these answers are a bit long, but some of the answers need a bit more than just a quick 30-second answer. This one is a quick answer though. What do we think of Arsenal? Shit. No, I'm joking. Let me not make this toxic. No, I don't like Arsenal. I don't like the way Arsenal play football. I don't like their manager. I think Arsenal Fan TV is a hindrance on them as a club. I think some of their fans feed off of negativity in Arsenal Fan TV. And I think the football stinks, but we're not here to talk about football. And I don't want no Arsenal fans getting rattled, because I've been getting it in the neck on TikTok, left, right and centre. So please, cut me some slack. Plus, my club can't really talk. We were rubbish this year. How do I know if I should bulk or cut right now? Okay, so this is obviously quite an individual question, but there might be someone watching this that is maybe asking themselves that question. So for me, when you're looking at bulking or cutting, and I'm going to talk to you as if you're someone that is interested in working with me, and I've had a few guys in the last sort of 6 months, since the turn of the year actually, talk to me about obviously wanting to put on some size, put on some muscle. And, you know, we have the consultation, we have the assessment situation, and I will never sugarcoat anything to anyone that wants to invest into me, right? I think honesty is the only way fitness online coaching actually works and works well. And I had to tell a couple of guys that your body's not quite ready to gain weight, gain muscle. So in a sense, what they're asking for is a bulking phase. And the question you need to ask yourself if you are in these shoes, you know, should I cut? Should I gain? What should I do? You need to look at yourself, and often you need another opinion on this. This is why investing into a coach is probably a good idea. It doesn't have to be me, but just someone. And kind of look at your physique and kind of assess how much body fat you're actually holding. Because when you go into a bulk, you are adding size. Now, we want to add as much muscle as possible, obviously. But with that, it's going to come some body fat. There's just no two ways around that. And so because of that, what you then need to ask yourself is, am I comfortable allowing myself to gain more body fat? And most of the time, depending on where you are in your fitness journey, if you are near the beginning of it, it's often that you probably aren't ready to gain. It's often that you probably are holding more fat tissue than you want to be if you're gonna earn 5, 6, 7 kg down the line. So as a short answer, it's likely most of you need to diet down first. Again, I can't remember who sent me that message, but if you DM me on Instagram, I'll just assess it for you and tell you. But it's likely that most of you need to diet first, then go into a gaining phase. And it's what I call a priming phase. You know, you're getting yourself ready for a longer term goal. And most of you probably don't want to hear that. You want to hear, yeah, let's gain, let's eat, let's get massive. But the fat tissue that you're going to be adding on to already fat tissue makes no sense. You know, if you're someone who's skinny fat, that's an even worse situation to be in. So just get an assessment, number one, and number two, err on the side of caution, maybe go into a little bit of a diet phase, clean yourself up, move on, okay? Next question is, what's the least I can do and still actually see progress? Again, another question that obviously I've seen, but again, another question that I didn't really know how to answer, because I think what you're asking is, how can I do the bare minimum and see a change in myself? So let me answer that as if you was, again, someone who was looking to work with me and you said that exact same words, which is not a crazy thing to say. A lot of you are busy. A lot of you have other things going on. So let's assume that you can only get to the gym twice a week, okay? Let's assume, I have clients who can only get to the gym twice a week. Get to the gym twice a week. You can meal prep a couple of days of the week and you can focus on your steps, say 5 out of the 7 days a week. So if you was to set yourself up around a 2-day training program in the gym, I would definitely make sure they're either upper and lower or 2 full bodies. I wouldn't narrow it down any more than that. In fact, it probably likely needs to be full body. I'm not a massive lover of full body. I prefer upper and lower, but if you're only training twice, you need to maximize your time training every muscle group and you need to look at frequency. In terms of meal prepping, I would point you in the direction of obviously mass meal prepping to the point where maybe you actually freeze some food. And I would obviously point you in the direction of, you know, managing eating out. So say for instance, you can't meal prep your lunch every week. How can we make better informed decisions when we walk down the Tesco meal deal aisle? They're the type of conversations we need to be having. So to answer the question, what's the least I can do? You can't really make much progress doing less than 2 days a week in the gym. Maybe you make good progress on 2 days, but you're going to run out of steam very quickly to the point where you're probably going to need to up that frequency, even to the point maybe you do a little bit of calisthenic work at home. The food side of it, you can manage a little bit better. So you could probably get away with one big meal prep for the week. And then if you ate out accordingly, it's not impossible. It just makes your life difficult. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. And then I guess that kind of links into the next question, really, doesn't it? I feel like I ruin everything every weekend. How do I stop? Crying emoji. Well, this is, again, another difficult question to answer because you're probably in the position that a lot of people are in, maybe watching this, where, you know, you're nailing it Monday to Friday and then the weekend gets here and you're kind of just losing track, right? You're losing discipline. You're going off the rails. And listen, anyone that works with me will know, and anyone that follows me on social media will know that I am a big believer in the 80-20 rule. And for those who don't know what that is, in very, very short terms, it's 80% on the money, perfection, 20% lax. And that allows you to kind of have a Saturday evening, Saturday afternoon into the evening where you can indulge. You can go out for drinks with your friends. You can go out for dinner with your missus. You can, what else can you do that is off plan? You can bake a cake. You can, the world is up to you, right? But Monday to Friday, you are not missing a step. And again, if you follow me on Instagram, this is literally how I live. Monday to Friday, I am absolutely on the money. A step does not get missed. A cardio session does not get missed. And a strength session does not get missed. Impossible. okay? My meal preps are done on a Sunday and a Wednesday. I know what I'm having for dinner at the start of the week all the way through to Friday. I know what snacks I'm having, when I can have them, how much protein I've got per day. You name it, I have it sorted, okay? So when I get to Thursday, I'm not kind of guessing what's in my fridge, what can I have for dinner. I know. And I know I'm in a deficit because I've already set myself up for that week, right? So then when I get to my Saturday, say for instance, I'm going out for some drinks in the evening. What I'll do is I will push my first meal back to lunchtime. I will make sure it's a very, very light, high protein meal. So possibly looking chicken salad, Greek yogurt bowl. Again, depending on what I'm doing in the evening, right? But what I'm doing is I'm saving some calories for the evening. I'm making sure I'm nailing protein throughout the day. Now, I might miss my protein target by maybe 20, 30 grams. But it's okay, all right? You make allowances, all right? But I'm doing what I can to be on the money on Saturday. So that way, then when I go out for dinner on Saturday night, I'm not looking at the calories on the menu. I'm thinking, do you know what? I've been so good for the last 5.5 days that if I want to have a calamari for starter, I'm going to have a calamari for starter. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And another reason where people feel like their weekends fall off, and this is very important, I need you to listen to what I'm saying. Your Saturday mess cannot turn into a Sunday mess. Okay, let me say that again. Your Saturday mess cannot turn into a Sunday mess. You cannot allow yourself to overindulge on a Saturday and get lazy on the Sunday, okay? If you go out, you have drinks, you're feeling rough on a Sunday, you need to make good decisions, okay? You cannot make decisions that are gonna put you in a deeper hole than you're already in. Sunday, you wake up and you get straight back on it, okay? You get straight back on it. You get your steps back out. I'm not saying go and train, or maybe it's your rest day, whatever it might be, but you do the basics. You get your meal prep sorted for the week. You get your water intake upped because, you know, again, assuming you've gone out for drinks. Water intake up, electrolytes nailed, nutrition and macros nailed, meal prep done. Line up your week, know when you're training, know when you're not training, know when your rest day is, know what you're having for dinner throughout the week. Okay? Because if that spills into Monday, that's where you have trouble. And that's why a lot of you wake up on a Monday thinking, oh man, that weekend's just ruined all that hard work that I did from Monday to Friday. Okay? So make sure Saturday night stays as Saturday night. And one of my clients, you know who you are watching this, I'm talking to you. Make sure your Saturday night stays as your Saturday night, not a Saturday/Sunday, okay? One day of the week, overindulgence is not going to ruin your progress, okay? Sorry, that was a bit of a long answer, but it's important, okay? And our last question, is this the last question? Yeah, last question. Why haven't you stepped on stage yet? Now, I'm not sure if you're somewhat taking the piss out of me. I don't think you are actually. Who's asked that question? Nah, you're not. You're only joking. Why haven't I stepped on stage yet? Well, first of all, I'm in absolutely nowhere near good enough condition to compete on a bodybuilding stage. Second of all, I don't want to. Third of all, it's not really something on my radar. It's not a passion of mine. And it's funny because I watch and I have an interest in bodybuilding. I don't watch the shows, but I love all the YouTubers. And I'm so basic. I just watch all the big ones. I just love following their journey because I can appreciate the discipline and application that goes into what they do. And because of that, I have an interest in it. Now, as a personal interest, no. I have no interest in it, in short. It's not something for me. It's not something I'm keen on doing. Like the way I train is obviously bodybuilding based. That might change in the future. In fact, I think it will change in the future. Again, but that's a different topic. Just because I train somewhat quote unquote like a bodybuilder, it's just for pure physique development. It's not for any aspirations to step on a stage anyway. And plus the bodybuilders watching this are probably laughing thinking, yeah, he definitely can't get on stage. And I agree because I don't have enough muscle tissue. But anyway, let's wrap it up there. That is 20 minutes. My throat hurts. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, something slightly different. Again, it's just me sitting down talking. So if you enjoyed it, please drop me a like and a subscribe. Give me any feedback. If there's anything in particular that you want to see, then please let me know and I will sort that out for you. But otherwise, I will catch you in the next one. Laters.